the 4 years. So that consistency across there. But on Tuesday, the teacher's talking about where are you going for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And they're covering some other topics as well during this time. And then on Wednesday, the students disperse out during homeroom. Some are going to English, some are going to math, some are going to social studies. Students that didn't get requested to attend any class, there are several classes that are open where they can go get extra help if they need extra help. Or there are some students just going to the common area, which is your cafeteria and they're working on some of their own work there. The rules are they cannot be playing on their phones. They have to be doing something academic. And so it's an ideal situation and something we're striving to be. But one of the things as I was looking at that is realizing when we talk about inspiring excellence, we really have not defined what excellence looks like. You know, Boots and I came from Army, and we were defined at one time, be all you can be. And I'm not sure I've ever achieved be all I can be. Boots, did you achieve be all you can be? You're working on it as well. I mean, these are great slogans, be all you can be, inspiring excellence. But if we don't know what they mean, how do we evaluate whether we are being all we can be or we are excellence? And so what I've tried to do in this document with the support of our admin team is really define what excellence would look like when we talk about inspiring excellence. So I call this document our commitment to excellence. So in there, we have our 3 priorities, as I would call them in our districts. Number 1 is a culture of collective efficacy. I've talked to the board before that John Hattie, who is an educational researcher out of New Zealand, has studied 158 instructional strategies. And what he does is he isolates that one strategy and pulls all the other strategies out of there, and he looks at the effectiveness of that strategy. For example, homework is one of the least effective strategies there is when we talk about academic achievement. And a lot of times it's the purpose, what is the purpose of homework and things like that. Retention is one of those that's one of the least effective. And what Hattie has done is he's determined on his matrix that any strategy over an index score of 40 would be considered a year's growth. And so homework, retention, most of those strategies are far below 40. For collective efficacy, it's number 1 on the list. I believe the number is 156 or 170. I can't remember the exact number, as the most effective strategy. And so what Hattie's work is telling us is if we were to focus on one thing that we want to increase academic achievement with, that one thing that we're going to get the most bang for our buck is a culture of collective efficacy, which is the belief that all of us working together, the educators that are sitting in here, the administration, the board, all of us working together, the belief that us working together will increase academic achievement. And so that's defined there, a shared belief through our actions combined with strong collaboration and structure. Educators will influence student outcomes and increase student achievement in our district. You know, I've talked about, teaching is one of the most private things that we can do. If we go into a classroom, close the door, 180 days of the year, very seldom is somebody going to come in and watch what's going on in that classroom. And so opening our doors and letting other educators come in and watch what we're doing, us go watch what other educators are doing, meeting together on Wednesday afternoons and talking about the practice that we are, looking at our data. What is our data telling us? And what do we need? And how do we need to improve that data? That's that collective efficacy. And that's something this year as a staff we've been working on. That's our number 1 priority. Our number 2 priorities is guaranteed viable curriculum. And one thing I want to emphasize, especially with a textbook adoption tonight, a textbook is a resource that we use. Curriculum is the actual state standards and the skills that we expect students to be able to do. And so the Arizona Essential Standards define what students need to know for English, what they need to know for math, science, social studies, and most subjects. That is our curriculum, that viable curriculum. All of our students, when they're sophomores in high school, or actually juniors in high school, are going to be taking the ACT test. And this is going to be a test that's going to gauge their knowledge on that. If we're not 11th grade content, our students are not going to be prepared for that test. Now, it's one thing to teach 11th grade we can teach 11th grade content, but if they're not ready for 11th grade content, what are we going to do about it? But we need to make sure standards are being taught. They need to be taught at the correct level. And we have to start looking at learning as there are and I just went blank on the word, but there's tier 1. And these are students, about 85% of our students that are going to learn the material through the instruction of what goes on in the classroom and the teacher being able to intervene in the classroom necessary. Tier 2 is when a student can go to a tutoring situation, similar to what I just described at White River. And on a Wednesday afternoon during homeroom, they go in there and get some extra help. That's tier 2. They're not in there with their class. They're getting extra support. It may be in some topic. And then tier 3 would be in more ongoing after school tutoring on an ongoing basis, summer school, and some of those would be considered tier 3. So we know from research is about 85% of our students should master the material from tier 1. About 10% of the students should be able to master it from tier 2. And then tier 3, we should get to about 100% by really focusing on the 5% that are really struggling. But that guaranteed and viable curriculum. And then number 3 is close the student learning gap guided by data. And so I think this is one thing that we can do in the district. And one thing that I'm hoping you're asking me next year is, Mr. Lavender, what is our data? What is our data telling us? How are we doing on, how are we looking at our instructional cycles? How are our students doing there? How are they doing on their benchmarks? How are they doing on the ACT test, the ATC Inspire test? How are they doing on their AP classes? And looking at data to drive that. But we have some real gaps in education, gaps of students, financial background, usually is where you'll see a gap. Ethnicity, sometimes we'll see a gap, but really closing that gap where all students are having the opportunities to learn. So those are our priorities. Again, a culture of collective efficacy, a guaranteed and viable curriculum, and looking at data and closing gaps in there. Our declarations for what these are some really important students is number 1, all students will feel safe at school. You guys last month took a step towards that with improving the weapon detection systems. But what systems and procedures do we have in place to ensure safety at school is something. Number 2 is all students will be treated with respect. And that we know a respectful environment. And that's mutual respect. The student respect with the teacher respecting the student in that. Number 3 is all students will learn at high levels. And this can be different levels, defining it because students come to us with different backgrounds and different then. But all students can learn at high levels. And I would consider anything above a year's growth at a high level. If our students are learning above a year's growth, then if they're behind, they're going to be catching up eventually. Number 4 is we will educate student by student, skill by skill. And really breaking down, and that's part of that work in the PLCs and part of the tutoring for the 15% for tier 2 or the tier 3 is really breaking those down. All students will enhance their spark to thrive. Remember, we've talked before, spark is what a student's interest is. And we know from research that students that know what their interests are, their hobbies or goals or that. Number 2, do they have the ability to enhance that spark? For example, Kelly's daughter, her spark is soccer. Through our soccer program, the club soccer program, she has the ability to enhance that goal. We're providing those opportunities. And number 3, are there adults to coach her? And we have a soccer coach, Mr. Wagner at Union. And so when those 3 conditions are met, we see thriving students. About 93% across the country right now, when asked those 3 questions, one of the 3 questions are no. Only about 7% of our students will say they know what they know what their interests are. They have the ability to enhance and work on those interests, and they have an adult to coach them or mentor them through that. As lifelong learners, we will improve each day. And that's a statement for our students, our staff. When I talk to you about our salary, blah, blah. our certified salary schedule, you'll see that we really are putting an emphasis on lifelong learning, and well-being matters for everybody in our community. We need to focus on making sure our students are healthy, our staff is healthy. We all saw a situation last week that we don't ever want to repeat in our district again. We need to focus on the well-being of all of our staff and making sure we're taking care of their needs, taking care of our students' needs. So these are the things. So flipping it over now to the second page, our mission in the district is very clear. All students will graduate from high school, college, and career ready. Notice I said all, I didn't say 80%. I didn't say 85%. I didn't say 90%. I said all. We want every one of our students to graduate, because of the statement there at the bottom, which I'm having a hard time believing or seeing right now, but your child is our child. Is it good enough for our child? I don't think anyone sitting up here on the board would want their child to drop out and not graduate from school. I certainly wouldn't want my two children not to graduate from school. I think everybody in the audience would want the same thing. We should want that for all 4,000 of our students, and work so all 4,000 of our students can graduate. So the 4 critical questions of learning that are the cornerstone of our PLCs and what drives a lot of the work they do in White River. Number 1, what does each student need to learn? And we identify that through our academic standards, and we also identify that through our curriculum maps. But what do students need to learn? Number 2 is, how will we know the students are learning it? And so a lot of times through that, it may be an assessment, it may be a project, but how do we know that students can demonstrate that learning? And then number 3 is, how will we respond when students struggle? Again, I talked about 15% of our students are not always going to learn it in the classroom through normal, what we would call normal instruction. So what are we going to do for those 15% that don't learn it? Are we going to move on? But are we going to hold up the other 85% because those 15 students haven't? And that's where our homeroom time, our PLCs, and our second tier learning and some of those things take place. And then the third is, how will we respond when students achieve mastery? What can we do to build up higher levels of learning and enhance their learning and things like that? So those will be the 4 driving questions of our PLCs next year and what we're doing. Some core values that we've developed for the district is, number 1 is equity, which is a guaranteed and vital curriculum of high quality instruction, a balanced assessment system, additional time and support, and fair and accurate grading system for all students. We act with urgency to ensure that every student is given what they need by identifying and removing barriers through culturally responsive practices at every level of our organization. So that's really how we define equity, and ensuring that all students have the opportunities to learn and have the opportunities for a viable curriculum. Number 2 is collaboration, to ensure high levels of learning for all students. High-performing teams operate as a professional learning community. So collaboration is, again, that coming together and that collective efficacy that I talked about, and working together, sharing ideas, what's successful and what's not successful. We may have an English teacher that gave a instructional focus cycle on verbs and got 90% of the students pass. Another one may have got 60. We need to have a conversation between the 2 of them and say, what did you do that got it up to the 90%? What are some things maybe that I didn't do so I can help get up to 90%? Now, again, every classroom's different. We have different learners and things like that. We have to avoid thinking that all students are the same, but we can learn from each other and the results that we are getting. And then we know that no significant learning takes place without a significant relationship. We need to continue to foster strong, respectful, supportive, and trusting relationships, which is the foundation of our work. So those are really our core values: equity, collaboration, relationships. And again, it gets to the core question: your child is our child. Was good enough for? We want education, what we would expect for our own children. Was good enough for our own children, then it needs to be good enough for the community. So that's the document that we prepared. What we'll do after graduation in a couple of weeks is we'll replace those pictures with some more current pictures for graduates. but I would like to bring this back to all of you in June and ask you to vote in support of this as our commitment to excellence. Any questions on this?
I think this is outstanding.
Thank you, sir.
It's heading in the right direction here, and it's it's something that this district needs, and working it into our program for next year's, I think it's going to be very beneficial. So thank you all for whoever worked on this, pulling this together. This is awesome. Anybody else?
I
Yes, sir.
personally applaud you.
Yes.
We cannot continue the way we're going. Our ranking in this state, when we have to correlate salaries with where we stand in the state, it's not acceptable.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad that you're moving in that direction. And I'm going to trust in you all I can, because you have not proved me wrong yet with doing that. So do the job.
Well, this is going to be a team effort, and I know that we've talked to teachers. Mrs. Daniels, who's been here, has been leading a lot of this effort, but I know that our teachers are eager to get started in this work as well. We do this work and we do it right. There's no reason at all, but all three of our schools can't be A+ schools of excellence. I've been through the process 3 times. As a principal, it's one of the most rewarding, but it's also one of the best external reviews of a school that you can have. And as an A+ judge that used to go out and judge, I think I judged 24, 25 different schools. A lot of them are high schools. That's where we learn the most, by going out and going into a high school and taking a look at their operations. And so there were high schools, high affluent, high performing high schools that we said no. And there were schools that, they were struggling to get the test scores, but they were doing remarkable things and stuff like that. And I tell people all the time, 4 or 5 years ago, the strongest high school that I judged was Chandler High School, which is a very diverse student population. But they were outperforming academically their schools to the south that didn't have near the diversity they had. But it's one of the few campuses that I ever walked on where you really did see, normally on a A+ school, it within about an hour. You can feel it when you walk onto the campus and how people respond to things and things like that. And so you could just see the attention, the focus. It was one of the few schools that I've ever been on where I didn't see cliques either. That students we're all strong and we're working together, socializing together and stuff like that. I haven't been back since that we did that visit about 6 years ago. I know the principals changed and things like that, but it was impressive to see what they have done. And there's no reason at all that our schools cannot perform at those levels. Last year, we took a team from both of our schools down to Flowing Wells High School in Tucson that has some very challenging demographics, higher free and reduced lunch than us, and all the other at-risk factors. And they have gotten A+ School of Excellence Award now 7 times. And so then they went down to watch the celebration for the 7th time. And it's just incredible, the school spirit that you see. You don't do it overnight. You can change the climate overnight, but a culture takes time.
That was going to be my question.
Yes, sir.
What are we looking at as far as the time frame of?
Well, next year is really looking at these PLCs and getting them up and going and working with them, getting them as efficient as we can, and start using that there with our work with Dr. Harrison from White River. Not only is he coming down in July to keynote, but he's going to also be meeting with our team once a month. And so we're not going to be where they are after 20 years of work, but we can go there. One of the things I really liked about that visit, I hope to be able to bring some more staff up there next year. And I'm talking to some of our teachers and things like that. They started the 2-day thing by having us watch PLCs. And so you knew right away when they talked about what goes on in those PLCs, we saw it and we know it was effective. One of the things the special ed director stood up and said is when you were in the PLCs today, you did not hear teachers blaming kids for not learning. And I said, wow, that's a pretty bold statement to make. But I said, you're absolutely right. We didn't hear that. And I visited, not only did I visit the social studies PLC, I went to a 2nd grade one where every one of those second grade teachers knew the name of every one of the second graders in the school, even though there were 4 classrooms and 4 teachers. And they all celebrated together the accomplishments of students that were meeting objectives and things like that. It's possible to do it.
I know our concern is high school, but
Yeah.
we can only do what we can do with what we get
Right.
to work with.
Well, and that's one of the things Mr. Wilkie and I are working on is having a meeting next year with our 4 feeder elementary districts. The governing board meetings really talk about, we don't want this meeting to look like we're the high school. We need to tell you what to do, but it's starting that collaboration. We're looking at scheduling that meeting. We wanted to get it done before the end of the year, but May is a tough time to find anybody that doesn't have an activity going on every night of May.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how many schools are you aware of that's instituted this program, and has their success level been as good as Whitefish, and what has been Whitefish's success?
Well, they're a nationally known school. They have outstanding test results. They're at the highest academic in Washington, and they face some of the same challenges. There are schools in Arizona that have PLCs. And so there's always a range where you're at in some of that, because PLC is a pretty broad term, and it's really narrowing it down to those 4 questions, utilizing data and that. And so there are schools that we can visit in Arizona where we can go see good models of this.
Do you know those schools, how successful they've been in instituting this format of a program?
Yeah, these are high performing schools that have achieved A+
Okay.
and A grades. Yes, sir.
As someone who was a member of the 15% club, something like this would
5, so
it would be great, because this is no joke. I had a teacher once tell me it was for geometry, or was it algebra? Either way, it just wasn't clicking, and I asked for help, and the answer I got was, "Well, it's in the book." And I said, "Well, I read the book," and I still don't understand it. I'll read it again.
Yeah.
And that was 30 years ago, but that it shouldn't happen. So look at something like this. To me, that's not going to happen.
right.
Right.
It
Somebody-
shouldn't.
Right.
But understand, our teachers have a lot going on. Our teachers have more students than research would suggest they have, but it's working within the parameters that we have.
Right.
And stuff like that. And so if we had class sizes of 15, then that 15% of 15 is 1 or maybe 2. But we're gonna start that trajectory going like this, and then work in that. And one thing I know from experience is success creates more success. Okay, I think it's 6 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock. There's 2 more things I wanted to cover with you tonight. In the meeting, I'm going to be asking you to approve our budget for the 2000, or our salary structure for the 2025 fiscal year. Fiscal years start July 1st and go through June 30th. So this would be effective July 1st, 2025. Most of our teachers, when they come back in July. Last year, on July 1st, our budget carryover was $8.4 million. A lot of school districts have some healthy budget carryover the last few years because of ESSER funds for COVID. We were able to divert some of our natural costs into COVID money. And so one of the things we're going to see next year is COVID is going away. And so our estimated budget carryover on July 1st this year is going to be roughly somewhere between $7.2 and $7.6 million. This figure is a little bit frustrating for you that I have to ballpark it, but it's kind of the budget and how we've been doing business. And next year, one of the things we're going to really be working on is zeroing in more of what we're spending money on, especially salaries and benefits. We know July 1st what we're going to be spending on that. it's the other money. Most school districts, about 85% of their budget is salary and benefits, and about 15% is not. Our district's been closer to about 78% salaries and benefits, and about 20 to 22% not. So we're really looking at those costs next year and where can we save some money in some areas we're not. One of the things next year, our enrollment this year is 3756, and our projected enrollment for next year is 3988. So we're expecting 232 more freshmen coming in than seniors that are graduating here in a couple weeks. And one of the things you're going to see in the budget and some of the things that I'm talking about is I'm gambling a little bit that we're going to have some growth. When I talk about an increase of 232 students next year, that's students that are already enrolled. All the 2,000 apartments that are under construction in town, as well as the 2,000 homes that have been permitted, and some of them are up and some of them are coming up. None of the children that are going to live in there or possibly be moving to our community is factored into that. And so it's very likely that 232 could grow to 300 to 400 more, because we're not only having large growth here, we're seeing large growth in Arizona City and that. And so we're on the beginning. What we're seeing that with the decline in enrollment, it really goes back to the 2008, 9, 10 area when we went through the recession and we saw a decline in birth rates during that time. And now that's kind of leveled off now, but now with the increase in the increase in population in our town, as you know, Casa Grande is expected to go over 100,000 people in the next decade during the 2030s. And so, and yes, gambling a little bit on growth, but we need to project a little bit of that growth as well. So we're prepared for it. So we don't have classes next year, 45 and 50, or we're scrambling in September to hire staff as well. So each student, when we think about funding, each student's worth about $6,000 to us in funding. About $4,900 in M&O, and then because we're a high school, all of our high school students are funded at 1.26 of M&O. So you take that 3,900 and multiply it out to the 26% more, and that's how we get to about the 6,000 per student, or it's 4,900, right? When I said 3,900. Again, so next year we're anticipating, and this is but fiscal year 26, not 25, about a $1.4 million increase. So where this year we're seeing a little bit of a decline in our M&O going into this 25 fiscal year. Next, for fiscal year 26, we should be seeing at least about a $1.4 million plus. There's a movement to possibly put state land sales money and doing some state land sales on the ballot to also increase teacher salaries as well. We don't know if they're going to get it on the ballot, they're going to pass, but these are things. So next year we are adding some positions. We're adding 8 positions that were funded through ESSER, and then some positions, the new counseling positions. So our schools are even on counseling. I don't know what's going on here, Mary.
Let's do
To the arrows, right?
yeah, let's make this full screen for one thing.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Is that all you, is that a one page?
Yep. And so I talked about the deep dive in that. So what does it cost to give a salary increase? A 1% salary increase for salary and benefits, and we factor 22% into our benefits, is $328,000. 2% is $656,000, and 3%, what I'm recommending tonight, is $985,000 in increased spending, and that's salary and benefits. Just a reminder, our teachers, our classroom teachers, their funding comes from 2 different sources. One is maintenance and operations, which is determined by our average 100-day count, which I told you this year is about 3756. Next year will be about 3988. And then Prop 301 money. Prop 301 means a quarter-cent sales tax that was originally passed in the year 2000 and then renewed again in 2020 for another 20 years. And so this money comes to us in a pot, and it's to help with teacher salaries. So you might see a teacher who's making $74,409. 60,000 of that would come from M&O, and 14,409 that's and 30 cents. That one shouldn't be there. Comes out of 301. Every one of our classroom teachers is receiving $14,409 next year in their base pay, whether their beginning salary of 52 or the max salary at 90. And then all of our teachers are eligible for 301 performance pay of $1,000, which will be determining what they need to do to achieve that in the beginning of the year. And currently, right now, we're getting ready to pay our performance pay for this year here, and our next paycheck that I think is coming out on Friday. All those that met the standard will be receiving $1,000. And so, just to kind of give you some scenarios, if our budget carryover is $7.6 million, our projected M&O next year of what we're bringing in is $35,598,000. With the 3% raise, it's $37,764,000. And so we're projecting a carryover of $5.4 million on July 1st, 2025. So that's at the end of next year. Again, we start the year with $7,600,000. The projected M&O 35 is what we're going to receive from the state. And then the 3% raise 37. And then we're also, because it's $5.4 million, we're recommending a 1% retention stipend, because that 1% retention stipend will bring us down to about a $5 million carryover. We're supposed to be carrying over about $2 to $3 million per year carryover. Again, we're gambling on some growth in the few years catching up. And we're also saying to our staff that have been through some tough economic times, we've got a pretty good balance carryover now. 3% doesn't even cover the cost of inflation right now, as best we can. We wish we could go 5%. We wish we could go 6%, but the 3% to the base salary and then 1% for a retention bonus, which would only be for staff that is coming back next year, not for our new staff. And one of the things, then that 3% would be what would carry over next year, not the 4% in that, as we start budgeting for the following year. Another scenario, what if we're at $7.2 million carryover? Again, the same $35 million M&O, this 37 budgeted amount, and then the carryover would be just over $5 million on July 1st. So the carryover would pull us, the 1% retention bonus would drop us below the $5 million, so we wouldn't be able to do that. We're recommending a half percent retention bonus there. And there are some funds that we can access in some other areas to still keep the budget balance at $5 million. But that would cost us, I think it's about $170,000 in that. So that's what we're recommending tonight. Again, a 3% across the board raise for all employees, wherever they're at in the salary scale. Beginning salaries remain the same, so we're not talking about increasing incoming salaries, but for all of our returning employees, the 1% retention bonus, if we can do that without pulling our carryover below $5 million, or half of it's going to pull it below $5 million, and utilizing those funds from other sources. Questions on the recommended 3% salary scale?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that if it's going to be below the 5 million, I'm really not comfortable with that. I think it's already seems a bit low going to 5 million from 8 million right now. I know they say you're supposed to have 2 to 3, but when we had all the other financial talks like months ago, the recommendations we should be even higher than 8% to have a healthy district. I mean, I do agree with the raises. I think it's important. I just think we need to be cognizant of that carryover number.
That's why we really set it at 5. Going below 5 would be a little bit much for 1 year. And though And then next year with the growth coming in, the 2% that the state is by state statute to be able to present to us, we should have next year already before the legislature even starts with the enrollment growth in that about $2 million extra funding next year, which should pretty much what we're going over this year.
I think that it's not necessarily a gamble. I think it's realistic that we're going to see the growth, given everything that's going on, not only in the housing, but in the industry and the
Right.
new businesses coming in. So I think that there's going to be growth here. And so I think that we're pretty safe with projecting that there's going to be growth for our student body. And I think that what you had mentioned before, the actual getting fine tuning the budgeting and the accounting, I think that is going to help us in identifying some potential cost savings, better practices. Implementing them is going to help this too. So
Yeah. And what really are our priorities, what we're spending money on there, Mr. Hunt?
In relationship to what our schools can handle, what the state says that we can have in our schools, if we have this kind of growth at the upper end, how is this going to affect that number?
And so for funding for a new school, we have to fund through the state facilities board. And so there are several challenges that we're going to face. One challenge is this building, because we have an operating school in here. They're saying that the state says we can have 350 students in this building based on the square footage. You and I both know there can't be 350 students in this building. I'm also attending a meeting on Friday at the elementary district because the land that Maricopa built the high school on that's in our attendance zone is projected to start getting 9,000 homes built out there in the next few years. So it's a problem that we have to resolve with Maricopa is how we're going to handle the fact that they built a high school, yet 9,000 homes, most of them in our attendance zone, are getting ready to be built around there. So these are some of the challenges. But Mr. Hunt, I think we're probably 3 to 4 years away from building or having the qualifications to build a new high school. But some of those things have to be factored in. And from then, if you ever walk the campus at Union, walk the campus at Vista, one was funded with bond money and the other was funded with state facilities board money. And one of the challenges we're facing at graduation is the capacity for Union's graduation is 5,400 and the capacity for Vista's graduation is 3,400, just because the state purchased our bleachers and the district didn't purchase our bleachers out there as well. Hindsight being 2020, somebody probably said, those bleachers are going to be too small for a 5A school and it's going to be challenges. But right now it's even more problematic to do that. And so really looking at long-term. But if the growth is going to hit, Vista, our capacity out there is about 2,100. Union, we can go higher. So we may have to start looking at some attendance boundaries and some of those things to accommodate us until we actually hit the numbers for the state to build it.
And in thinking about that, we're going to have to more than likely hire more teachers. I see that as being problematic because of what the school's going through right now.
What do you mean by that, sir?
Well, and constantly being short of teachers.
Right. So is Linda here? Linda, aren't we down to about 10 teachers still to hire?
I think so. That's going to fluctuate a little bit as folks are still making individual plans.
So right now we have about 10 openings. I don't want to mention the other district in town by name who has a 4-day week. There are about 50 openings right now. I think attractive salaries and some of the things we're talking about is what's going to help us going. It's going to be a challenge. And Ms. Daniels is working with the colleges and grow your own programs and some of those things to get them in. We're in a heck of a lot better shape than we were this time last year. And so as far as acquiring teachers. And so, but yes, it's going to be, if we continue to see half of our teachers who are entering the field leave within the first 5 years, it's going to be problematic because there's not that many teachers in our College of Education to become teachers. That's why we're having to do creative things to get them to get them certified. And that's why we're looking at some of the things we're doing to support them when they get here. So we're just not throwing them into the water and say sink or swim.
We had one,
Ox.
did you have one more?
I had one more thing I wanted to share with.
Real quick, where do we stand in comparison to the other high schools with our certified schedule?
What do you mean by that, sir?
What I'm saying is compared to other high schools, our pay schedule that we use for our teachers, how do we relate to the other high schools within Arizona?
We have competitive salaries. This is one of the reasons we're able to keep people and maintain people. We are above the state average, the higher end of the state average for teacher salaries. And so
They do deserve the 3%. I agree with that.
well, they deserve 30, but 3 is as far as we can go.
Yeah, have we considered as far as how much their total pay is for the year when we start looking into their health benefits and retirement and everything else? Because I know, as you probably knew when we were in the military, that they looked at that as part of what was attractive to the public for bringing people in.
Yeah, one of the things that we've really emphasized is we're going to see a $125,000 increase next year in our medical benefits as a district. We're covering that at MMO. We're not asking the employees to pay any of that. State retirement is a set percentage of state. We pay half of it. The state pays half of it. We're doing the very best we can, Mr. Hawks, and like through 301 money and things like that, to get every dollar we possibly can into our teachers and our staff, because we know that's our most valuable resource, is the people that are in front of these students every day. And so that's why, although you can look at these numbers and realize, you know what, if we kept spending that much more, we're going to get to the red pretty quick. I think given what we've been through, the economy and things like that, it's well deserving to get that 3% in there this year, and then the 1%, hopefully the 1% retention bonus. There's one more thing that I wanted to share with all of you, and that is our proposed salary schedule. If you look at our salary schedule now, there are 25 steps. And so if you've been with us 19 years, most likely you're on step 19 or step 23 or step 4 if you've been there. One of the things that you will see, I can't able to blow this up, but if you look at the BA, BA12, BA24, the salary schedule that's currently in effect, the BA is just under $80,000. And then the master's degree is at $83,000. You will see on this salary schedule, the BA is at $67,000 and the master's is at $86,000. So about a $15,000 or $19,000 difference between having a bachelor's degree and a master's degree when you hit your maximum salary. And the previous one, it was after 25 years and the difference was $3,000. We know now going to school, a master's degree costs about $50,000. And if you want to go get a master's degree because you're silly and don't know any better and want to be a principal, great, go and spend your $50,000. But a lot of people are just going to get a master's degree for the salary. And so what we're proposing is the Casa Grande Learning Academy next year, in which we are providing professional development classes where teachers can earn credits for the salary scale. And so where you'll see the BA, BA12, BA24, if you're just going to come in and remain pat and stand, then you're not going to get up to the $80,000 salary. But if you're going to come in and take the classes that we're offer, or go to the school and take classes, the meaningful classes in the masters, then you're going to be able to move across. And you'll see. And so also the one thing about the BA, the BA12 and the BA24, once you hit those maximums, that's it. There's no longevity increases as well that is at the masters 12, 24, 36, 48, or 60. If we were in this program or in the salary schedule now where we're recommending 3%, those individuals would get 1.5% if they're at the maximum. However, we're changing how we're doing financing for a whole lot of teachers that have been here for many years. That's why we're saying for 2 years, everybody will get the 3%. The next year, everybody will get whatever percent it is, and the following years. And then we're going to allow people to start moving over on that salary schedule and start taking the professional learning classes that we're going to be offering through our professional learning. And we hired a director. You'll see at master's plus 73 or 72 and doctorate, there is no maximum salary. And somebody says, well, you have a maximum salary everywhere else. Why don't you have that there? Hey, if you want to stay in the classroom and you want to get there, you can keep going there, because we want advanced, highly capable people in the classroom. And so those are the only 2 positions that are uncapped, where you can keep going and going and going at those rates. Phantom is just something where some teachers many years ago were put into a category. Nobody really can explain to me why. There are about 8 of them. They'll remain in the Phantom salary until they all retire, and then Phantom will go away. And there's all kinds of different provisions. Another provision that we're recommending this year, if you've been with the district 20 years and you're retiring, which we have some individuals that are retiring tonight, you get a $2,500 thank you retirement step your last year of service, but you have to have been in the district 20 years. And so that's something new. Also, I saw Amanda walk in here. Amanda is a nationally board certified teacher. I think you're the only one in the district. Am I correct, Amanda? There's 3 of them. So out of 170 teachers, there's 3. It is a rigorous process that she's gone through of taking classes, preparing videotapes of herself, analyzing the videotape, other people analyzing it. And she did all that for a $2,000 a year stipend. And so I'm recommending we increase that stipend to a whopping $3,000 a year rather than $2,000. That's, when you look at other school districts, that's pretty standard, the $3,000 stipend and there. So that's another provision as well. This salary schedule puts a premium on taking classes and being a lifelong learner. Because if you're taking 6 hours a year of learning, and that's 6 credit hours, which would be 30 classroom hours a year. And it's not just going to class and sitting there for 6 hours. There is a professional learning. Tina, help me with the name of, what are we calling those? Yeah, but the projects they're doing. Service learning, thank you. There's a service learning component where if we're teaching a class and working with students of poverty, we're going to come in and work with you and see that you're implementing the strategies that we're talking about and how they're going, and give you feedback on that. The one downside for teachers that are going to go through this program, because you can kind of get your own master's degree with us and we're not charging you anything, but you'll get the salary increases. When you leave, you can't take the master's with you because we're not going to be a certified college. So it's another enticement to stay because of there. But if you, last year, we were giving 25 years of experience to new teachers coming in, our teachers coming in. And if you had 25 years, we couldn't sustain that. So we brought it down to 14. So this is the proposed salary schedule that really does focus on that lifelong learning, and teachers over the years that get into that MA 72 and doctorate, they can get into the 6 figures income if they don't retire and double dip, which I don't understand why anybody wouldn't retire and double dip when you hit 30 years, because it's a sweet deal if it's still around when they hit it. But it allows them. And if you're an instructional coach and you're mad because your salary tops off at 90, go back in the classroom and finish your career in the classroom and go up higher. You know, those positions shouldn't be lifelong appointments. We want people in the class. We want our very best people in the classrooms getting the results that we need. Any questions on the proposed draft salary schedule? So again, tonight I'll be asking you to approve this as well. And there's some other salary schedules in there. There's not what I would say drastic changes there are to this schedule in there. Both Jeanette and I got our fingers crossed. You don't ask us about the ROT salary schedule because Richard asked me about it today. I don't know. Jeanette sent it to me. I went to Jeanette and I don't know if we have an answer for you, but we didn't touch it. So it's the previous salary schedule. For everything else, we're just kind of putting that in there. So Jeanette's ready. Any other questions?
All right, seeing none.
I got 6 minutes to spare.
yes.
You sure didn't want me to tell you some stories?
I think we're going to have a long meeting, so we probably.
I know
need
we
a break.
we got a lot of people to get in here and get seated. So,
Um,
and that gives you an opportunity to take a break if you need to take a break.
yes, I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll take a
Thank you.
reconvene at 6:30.
AZ's up here.
Yes, sir.
Stretch my legs. Sitting an hour.
Yeah, he's here for, he's on the Ascend High School.
What's that?
Graduation today. Yeah.
But you know, when I go on campus and I see the people you're asking,
There is, and I've been very impressed. When you look
Hi, Ollie.
what the difference is between teachers
So by the time they get to high school, they're already.
I've always decided.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's meeting. Mary, will you do the roll call, please?
Here?
Here.
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 Wonderful. You all join us, stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then stay standing for a moment of contemplation and reflection. And if you can, please keep the Palacio family and friends in your thoughts and prayers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving into the adoption of the agenda, does anyone have any questions or comments about it? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, call for the roll, please. Call for the vote.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Yes. Minutes from the prior meetings. Anyone have any comments, discussions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, if you'll call for the vote.
Yes. Hear you.
Yes.
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 Yes. Student recognition, Mr. Lavender.
So this time I'd like to introduce Grass Grand Middle High School Principal, Dr. Lineberry, who will recognize his April and May Students of the Month.
Good evening, Mr. President, Governing Board, community. My name is Chris Lineberry. I'm the principal at Casa Grande Union High School, and I have the honor of talking about two of our outstanding kids tonight. The first one is going to be Avery Weddle. Avery? No. Avery was our April Student of the Month. Avery's grade point average is a 4.3. He exceeds in all required academic credits. He is exceptionally proud of his academic achievements. He was selected as Pinell County's Athlete of the Year during his junior year. He excels in sports. He says his soccer coach, Mr. Marco Fonseca, his tennis coach, Mr. Matthew Lemberg, and his teachers, Ms. Kaylin Bizard and Mr. Ernie Razzo, all had significant impact on him. Next year, Avery will be attending the University of California Polytechnic with a focus on agribusiness. His dad, Corey, and his mom, Jessica, as well as the rest of their family, support him. He's played a variety of sports. As I said, he's also held jobs in local farms, Corey Weddle Farms and at Crimson Sky Farms. This past year, he played varsity soccer, varsity tennis, was a part of FFA, Key Club, Young Life, National Honor Society, Link Crew, DECA, and was the treasurer for our student council. So Avery Weddle, congratulations. All right, so the second student is our May Student of the Month, and that is Chloe Keeling. Chloe brought her own cheering section with her tonight, so good job, Chloe. So no, just stand right here. Just stand there and look good. You got it. All right. So Chloe has a grade point average of a 4.0. She likes working with kids and is involved in our early childhood classes. She plans on attending CAC and focusing on accounting or early childhood teaching. After attaining her associate, she plans on finishing school at any college of her choice. Chloe credits her mom, Deanna Keeling, dad Daniel Keeling, 4 sisters, and 1 brother for all supporting her. Many of her family members have graduated from Casa Grande Union High School. Teachers she would like to recognize are Mr. Carter, Mrs. Nito, Mrs. White, and Mrs. Hawkins. In addition, she served as the vice president of DECA her sophomore year. She was part of early childhood education, the National Honor Society honor roll. She's again been part of the DECA club the past 2 years. She was nominated last year for American History Student of the Year. And this year took part in student council, did her internship in early childhood education, and is a part of both National Honor Society and DECA. So congratulations, Chloe. If Chloe's parents would like to come up, just bring the whole clan up here and we can, you can go around and shake everybody's hand and then they'll take your picture and make you famous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You got Dr. Weimer in there?
I do. And Mary.
Congratulations again. Yep.
Next is Vista Grande Principal, Mr. Vance Danzy. If he would please come forward.
Congratulations.
Governing Board President, Mr. Wilkie, Governing Board Member, Superintendent Lavender, it is my honor to present Ms. Grace Hagman as our Rotary Student of the Month. Hagman is the daughter of Julie and Jacob Hagman. Hagman is a wonderful student with an extensive list of extracurricular involvement, both in and out of school. Hagman has been an active member of the Vista Grande National Honor Society, Students Against Destructive Decisions, Key Club, and the AP Club. Along with their involvement in these great clubs and societies, Hagman has also dedicated their time to volunteering within the community. They put in a total of 220 hours of community service. To be involved at the extent to continue to keep up exceptional grades might serve as a task for some, but has never come as trouble for Hagman, as they have earned academic achievements all 4 years of high school while maintaining a 4.725 GPA. After graduation, Hagman will be attending Purdue University as part of the Honors College in West Lafayette, Indiana, to study linguistics. Hagman aspires to work within AI or any other route that leads to the intersection between technology and linguistics. Good job. Great.
Grace is also our valedictorian for Vista Grande High School, so she'll be giving a speech on May 23rd. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay, wait. I'm sorry, because if I do this, look at the audience. Okay, here we go. Perfect. 1, 2, 3.
Next is our case principal, Mrs. Crystal Danzy.
Good evening, Board President Wilkie, board members, and family and friends of the community. I'd like for Brianna Mendoza to come on up. Okay, we are proud to announce Brianna Mendoza as PACE's May Student of the Month. I'm going to share some encouraging words for those who nominated you, your advisors. From Mr. Clardy, Brianna exemplifies a dedicated young leader and student athlete, setting a positive example through her actions and articulate speech. Her intelligence is widely respected in our school community. Brianna's charming sense of humor fosters strong connections with others, revealing her vivacious and genuine personality. Particularly striking is her boldness and determination in embracing opportunities, reflecting her aspirations for continual growth and excellence in all facets of life. Her journey is poised for further accomplishments in academics, extracurricular pursuits, and personal development. It is a privilege to witness her development at PACE, where she approaches her studies with zeal and harbors ambitious aspirations. Brianna Mendoza's presence shines as a light on our future at PACE and in the healthcare sector as she pursues her dream of becoming a pediatrician. Brianna, over the course of this year, has proven to be our most reliable, driven, and contentious student. She is a role model for the students at our school and our district. Some of her accolades. She excelled in honors geometry during her freshman year and attended summer school after ninth grade year to earn early algebra credits. She is on an accelerated path, taking pre-calculus as a sophomore and tested out of English 10 to earn English 11 credit in this school year as well. She is an active member of our student council, an active member of our Raise Young Leaders, which is Rural Arizona Engagement Leaders. She is an active member of the Casa Grande Union High School's Trap and Skeet team, where she attained number 2 ranking in the state trap competition for 23-24 school year. She was a player on both the junior varsity and varsity teams as a freshman at VGHS for girls soccer prior to joining PACE. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next is our CTE director, Mrs. Lisa Miller, who will recognize our CTE students of the month.
Good evening, President Wilkie, board members, Superintendent Lavender, and this wonderful crowd we have this evening. So I am privileged to honor 3 students this evening. We are honoring a student from Ag Science at Union and our JROTC programs, 1 from each campus. So I'm going to do this alphabetically by program. So I'm going to start with Agri-Science. Our honoree tonight is Peyton Elliott. So Peyton, come on up and join me, please. Her parents are Amy Vance and Daniel Elliott. And these are the words from Ms. Buzzard. Peyton Elliott is a spectacular student in the Agri-Science 3 class. She currently is serving as the 23-24 Casa Grande FFA secretary. She has shown cattle at the Pinal County Fair for her supervised agricultural experience over the past 3 years. Peyton is extremely involved in showing livestock. She serves as the 4-H president for the Casa Grande Big Hogs Club, Peyton holds many leadership positions, including being a youth rep for Pinal County Livestock and an ag ambassador for Pinal County Farm Bureau. After graduation, Peyton is attending the University of Arizona this fall with the intent to major in agricultural education. So congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
And next, I would like to honor a JROTC student, Alexa Castro. Alexis joins us tonight with the and she's been honored by Sergeant Flores. Her parents are Santiago and Sandy Castro. Cadet Castro has been in the program for the past 3 years. During that time, she has shown initiative, leadership, and dedication to the JROTC program and her staff non-commissioned officer administration billet that she holds. She has many hours of community service, which show the unselfishness of her character. She never gives up and always strives for more. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Two thumbs here. There we go. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. Just a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Gotta have Gunny in there.
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And our JROTC honoree from Vista is Cooper Pittman. Sergeant Griego recommended him. His parents are Adam and Deanna Pittman, and these are the words from First Sergeant. As a first-year student, Cooper has been instrumental in the success of the JROTC program. He helped the Academic Bowl team advance to the second round of the Marine Corps Academic Bowl Championship. As an active member of the JROTC drill, rifle and drill team, he's always looking for ways to help the program advance. His dedication does not stop there, as he's contributed numerous hours of his time supporting the various community service projects, and on his spare time manages to excel in the Boy Scouts, currently working on his Eagle Scout project. You can always find him mentoring other first-year students, no matter how busy his schedule may seem. He continues to help when and where needed, bringing great credit upon himself and the Marine Corps JROTC program at Vista Grande High School. So congratulations once again. And are your parents here? His parents are here, come on up.
He did. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
So this year in the Black Canyon region, we saw total domination by our Vista Grande Spartans. They went undefeated in softball as well as baseball. When you go undefeated, you're going to win a lot of end-of-season awards like Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. I'm going to ask their athletic director, Mr. Louis Ramirez, to please come up and recognize our students and coaches that got Region Players of the Year or Coach of the Year.
Thank you. Governing Board President, board members, and Mr. Lavender, community, appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm so happy to see my wonderful administrative assistant, Karen Smothers, and her husband, Gary, here. Sorry to go off on a little tangent, but I know you're going to honor her, but I just want to honor her as well personally because thank you for making my job easy this year and the wonderful work you did for me. It's truly because of you that we were successful, I believe. So thank you for all of that. Can't wait to hug you. And I know, President Wilkie, I appreciate you doing that moment of silence, but out of respect, I think it's important to acknowledge a coach, a son, a brother, and a staff member that was unexpectedly taken away from us on Thursday night. So I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the Palacios family and his profound impact that he had at Vista Grande the last decade, serving as a security officer and football coach for us. So with that being said, if I could have Coach Harley Grigg and Victoria Belloc come up here, please. I was trying to think of words to say for them individually, but I'm just going to do this together. So I wrote this up for both of you. Okay. So between these two coaches right here to my left and my right, they have over 100 wins. The last 4 years, I did this based off their senior class this year because a couple of the students, athletes that we're honoring are seniors. So they've got 70 region wins between the two of them, 4 straight playoff appearances. And Coach Belloc does have the one up because she did make a state title appearance in 21, came up short. So with that being said, throughout both your tenures as head coaches for baseball and softball, both of you have demonstrated exceptional leadership, mentorship, and sportsmanship, both on and off the field. Both of your ability to inspire and motivate our student athletes to reach their full potential is truly commendable. Under your guidance, our athletes have not only excelled in their respective sports, but have also grown as individuals, learning valuable life lessons such as teamwork, perseverance, and resilience. Both of you have had over a dozen players continue on to play at the collegiate level and pursue higher education, and have made lifelong relationships with hundreds of student athletes, which in my book is the #1 win in coaching. So thank you for your guys' service. Yeah, I'm gonna let Coach Grigg come up and introduce his player, and then this plaque is for you, Coach.
Oh, thank you. Want me to go around shaking one time? Yeah, there we go, yeah.
Harley won this last year too, so.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. Congratulations.
You gonna go first?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
All right. So we were pretty fortunate this year to have 3 student athletes be recognized for the Vista Grande softball program. The first player that I'd like to recognize is a great athlete. She was with us for, well, just 3 years. She'll be graduating next year in December. Pretty sad to watch her go, but she's on to very big things. We have Alexa Regan, who is Player of the Year. All right, next one. This athlete has actually been with me for 4 years. She'll be attaining or going to Ottawa University next year. She'll be playing softball, and this is Jalissa Haragi, and she is Offensive Player of the Year. And the last one goes to our Defensive Player of the Year. She has always been with me for quite a while. Very, very sad to watch her go, but she has taught us all a lot of different life lessons that I'll keep with me for the rest of my career. It is Calicia Casillas.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
If I could have Sebastian Horogo, aka Seabass, come on up here. Me and Seabass, we've been together for 4 years. He's been on varsity since his freshman year, and he's improved every year. And, you come across these certain players. Most players are replaceable. You got some younger kids coming up that are just as athletic. And then you just have a certain every now and then player that's just kind of sometimes not going to be replaceable all the way. And Seabass is one of those players. It's going to be hard to replace him both on and off the field. So for 4A Black Canyon, he got Player of the Year for the second year in a row, and also got Defensive Player of the Year, because it usually goes to a pitcher, second year in a row. But the biggest award that I just barely called him yesterday. We had our all-state meeting and all-star meetings yesterday up at Apollo High School. And, if you take 48 teams, average of 15 players on a team, you get about 700 to 800 baseball players. So then you have your region meetings, like the young ladies over here, and you take your best out of each region out of 4A, and you put those players on a first team and a second team. Well, then you got to take those first team players, and all the region reps go up and meet, and you put them on an all-state team. So on the baseball side of things, you start with about 800 players, but you only get 15 or 16 that actually make first team all-state. And Seabass, for the second year in a row, was one of those lucky 16 to make first team all-state. So that's huge. That's huge. There's 5 pitchers, and he was the number 3 out of 5 that all the coaches voted for, which is huge. You got a kid out of Swirl-Scottsdale that's going to be in the top 10 draft pick, and then you got a kid out of South Point. He's going to GCU, and then they picked Seabass number 3, and he'll be attending MCC next year. And we look forward to seeing him, and you'll be doing good things up there, man. So we appreciate all your hard work. Thank you.
you may have heard, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. And so tonight I've asked a couple students to come and share why they appreciate our 2 employees of the month. And I'll ask Drake Maestas to come up here and recognize Mr. Carter at this time. Mr. Carter, if you would please join Drake up here. Drake recently competed in our DECA program and was the state champion for the Entrepreneur League. And we're excited that he's moving on to ASU next year and the great things he's going to do. So Drake, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Lavender. First off, I would like to say a huge appreciation to all teachers during this week. During Teacher Appreciation Month, we extend our deepest gratitude to all educators for their dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to shaping the minds of our future leaders. And so we thank you for your tireless efforts in making a difference in every day. So thank you to all our educators in the Kingdom of Custom. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we come together to celebrate an exceptional educator who has dedicated himself to not only teaching, but also to shaping future leaders in the field of marketing. It is with great honor that we present this award to Mr. David Carter. For years, Mr. Carter has been more than a teacher. He's been a mentor, a guide, and a catalyst for success. In addition to his role in the classroom, Mr. Carter serves as the DECA advisor, nurturing students, talents, and ambitions in the field of marketing and business. His commitment to excellence, both in teaching and mentoring, has transformed countless lives and enriched our entire school community. Mr. Carter's leadership and innovation extend far beyond the classroom walls, making him a true beacon of inspiration for students and colleagues alike. So as we celebrate Mr. Carter's achievement today, let us express our deepest gratitude for his tireless dedication and unwavering passion. Congratulations, Mr. Carter, on this well-deserved recognition. Here's to many more years of shaping the minds of students and guiding them towards success and in marketing and beyond. And before we even go on, you deserve this award because you put up with my butt for 4 years. So give it up to Mr. Carter.
Dr. Limer, do you want to join us up here?
Oh, me too.
Congratulations. Next, from Vista Grande High School, I want to introduce their student body president, Bea Yan, who would recognize Mr. Nathan Sheeler as our other employee of the year.
Good evening, school board president, Mr. Walkie, school board members, and superintendent, Mr. Lavender. My name is Bea Yan, and I would like to introduce Mr. Nathan Adam Sheeler. Mr. Sheeler has been teaching at Vista for many years. He is a well-known and loved teacher around our campus at Vista Grande. He never fails to show that he is here for all his students. When he isn't grading all his AP schoolwork, he's focusing on student council. We have multiple crazy ideas that he tries to make possible. The reason I picked you, Mr. Sheeler, was not because you have your cool hair or your great music taste, but because you listen. You listen to my ongoing complaints and me being dramatic. You do not only listen to me, but you listen to your students and your colleagues. Even with all, you still balance your family and work life. You have never failed us at Vista and continue to support every one of the students at Vista. You always teach your students to focus on the positive and make sure they are ready for the future. One thing that your student council class would like to say from all 38 of them is that they love you and thank you. You have impacted not only many students at Vista, but you have also made so much change at Vista. That will be all continue to be appreciated. So thank you, Mr. Sheeler, for being the teacher, colleague, and role model you are. We appreciate you at Vista. I not only stand up here to say great things about Mrs. Sheeler, but also to all the Vista Grande teachers. I would like to say on behalf of all your students, past and present, I intend a heartfelt thank you for your unwavering dedication, passion, and commitment to education. Your impact reaches far beyond the classroom. The classroom walls, shaping the leaders, innovators, and change makers of tomorrow. Thank you for being the difference makers in our lives. You truly are the heart and soul of educational journey at Vista Grande. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All my kids up here from this Squeeze all my kids. Robert's too.
Well, I think you know now why I didn't present the employees of the month and ask the students to do it, because they're so authentic in the impact that these teachers have had on them. I encourage everybody this week to reach out to the teachers that have impacted them and let them know how much they mean to you. At the end of the year come happy times, tears, as students move on to graduate, but we also, this time of year is a sad time as well, as some of our employees have chosen to retire. The $2,500 retirement bonus wasn't enough to change their retirement plan. So as I call your name, if you would please join me and any family members you have. Bertha Aguaya. Yes. So Bertha has spent 15 years as the life skills teacher at Vista Grande. She built this particular functional program from the ground up. Her fondest memories have been just being blessed by the life skills staff, and she's had the opportunity to work alongside with throughout her years at Vista. Her words of advice come from one of her favorite quotes: "No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care." President Theodore Roosevelt. She is most looking forward to not writing any more IEPs. She will be able to she will enjoy being able to spend time with her husband, her son, and their family. She will also be spending time at their cabin in Pinetop Lakeside without having to schedule it around a school break. We're all envious of you. So Bertha, thank you for everything.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And now my
Next is Molly Fitzgibbons. I'm not sure that Molly was going to be able to make it tonight, but Molly has taught English for 18 years. Her fondest memories are with her students and the long-lasting friendships with her colleagues. Her advice would be to enjoy the journey. It goes by fast. She is most looking forward to traveling. She plans to spend full summers on the California and Oregon coast and will visit India in the fall of 2024. We thank Molly Fitzgibbons for all that she's done. Melanie Keyser. Melanie has been with the district for 13 years. She started in the ESS office the year Union's campus opened. After spending some time in Arizona City District, she returned as an admin assistant at Desert Winds with Mr. Hamilton, and then moved on to Union when Desert Winds shut down. Her fondest memories are all the great people she has worked with. Her advice is to greet every day with a smile. It's contagious. She's not sure what her retirement plans are just yet. I'm sure we'll be traveling watching Kevin referee, correct? So congratulations, Melanie, and thanks for all that you've done.
Congratulations.
Gunny Flores. Jesus has worked in the Casa Grande Union High School District for 21 years, serving as the Marine Corps JROTC instructor and teacher for 11 years at Casa Grande Union and 10 years at Vista Grande, where he has been the rifle team's coach. He coached wrestling for a couple of years at Union, as well as being the lunch detention teacher for a couple of years at Vista. There have been so many memories with so many wonderful students, but his favorite memories are the times he received a letter or an email from former students years later mentioning how he made an impact on their lives. His advice is to listen to your students and give them the opportunity to express their feelings, thoughts, ideas, sorrows, and accomplishments. In turn, show them and tell them some of your life's experiences. Use your family and yourself as examples of what to do or what not to do. Have an open door policy. He is most looking forward to just not working. He and his wife do not have any plans set in stone. They just want the freedom to do what they want whenever they want without time constraints. I know Jesus has 2 daughters that are currently serving in the Navy, so I know he's going to be busy is there as well. Jesus, we thank you for your service, not only to your country, but our district. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Did you want to call you? Sure. I'm sorry, this is the other.
Karen Smothers. Karen has worked for 12 years in the Casa Grande Union High School District, holding one position as athletic secretary and administrative assistant to the athletic director and assistant principal. She has worked with 6 ADs. Mr. Trey Chapman, Andy Lukovic, Harley Grigg, Bobby Pierce, Miguel Marrero, and Louis Ramirez. She has had so many wonderful memories over the years. She cannot mention just one. She has enjoyed working with so many good teachers, coaches, and support staff, and has built lifetime friendships. Her advice to the current staff is to start your day with a smile, be positive, and be happy. Each day is a blessing. She has always looked at her life as her cup being half full, not half empty. Retirement for Karen is going to be to enjoy each day with her husband, Gary. She's looking forward to continuing to travel, spend time with her family, and a few Steelers victories. Yes. So, Karen, thank you for everything. And Karen? Sir, Harley, why don't you join us too?
Congratulations and enjoy retirement.
Thank you.
Much.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Well, those are all the awards and recognitions we have tonight. I'm going to ask maybe we take a 2-minute break, allow our awardees and their families the opportunity to leave if they would like to, and also allow Mr. Morris's students to get ready for their presentation.
So thank you all again for coming here, and to all those amazing individuals, thank you for all you do and what you've done for this
Some of our very talented students from Casa Grande High School who are here today to talk about some fascinating projects that we're working on. So,
hello, we are the Cascagon. Oh, that's loud. Sorry. We're the Cascagon Union High School Ascend team. We're a NASA-funded space grant program. Basically, we work for NASA. This project is done by a group of colleges in Arizona, such as ASU, U of A, and Embry-Riddle. And we are the only high school that is a part of this project. My name is Landry Howard, and I'm the team lead. These are our other members who will be presenting themselves throughout the presentation.
Alrighty. My name is Zechariah Buchanan, and one of the biggest ideas is what is. I should say that.
Here, just continue.
Okay. One of the biggest questions is what is Ascend? Well, first, Ascend is an acronym. It stands for Aerospace STEM Challenges to Educate New Discoveries. Ascend is a project that goes by multiple different high school colleges, and we are the one high school where we build a sensor payload that goes up around 90,000 feet, collecting data along the path up. And once it pops, it plummets back down to Earth, in which when we collect it, we can collect the data depending on whatever our question is. Moving on to the fabrication team.
Hello, I am Melody Lamone. I am a senior on the fabrication team. I will also be reading the slides for our other senior, our team lead, Elijah Ramirez, who unfortunately could not make it here today. The two of us seniors on the team wanted to make it so that our two freshman interns actually had some sort of basis to go off of, because last year when we were juniors and we were new to the project, the seniors left us with nothing. I was in the programming field at the time, and I had asked the former programming lead, hey, what do I do? And he goes, I don't know, look it up. So we wanted to make sure that our team actually was left with something and was left with a basis to continue to teach the underclassmen. That way we continue to grow more and don't have to start from scratch all over again due to team members not passing information on. Passing on to our intern, Zach Buchanan again.
It's me again. Going into the specific CAD or computer aided design part of the fabrication, we went with a hexagonal design because of form factor and stylistic choices, but as well as space issues. Going into the idea of space issues, it's just last time in fall semester when we were flying the payload, we had issues with space and just some minor issues around the payload just due to it being so small. One of the biggest things that CAD can do for us as a team is it allows us to visualize what the payload's going to look like before we start building it. It goes along with the phrase of measure twice, cut once. You don't want to just build something willy-nilly and saying, oh, what was the measurement again? After cutting. CAD allows us to visualize the payload before we go with the design. Moving on to the fabrication part of it.
So for more specifics on what the payload is made out of and the dimensions of it, the height of the payload itself, which Aliciana has, is 7 inches. The length of one outside panel is 6 inches. The width of the foam itself is 1 inch. And from flat side to flat side across, it is 12 inches. The material that it is made out of is Armax foam, and the panels are held together with wood glue and a layer of duct tape. There is one panel, it is the one covering the camera, if you could move to that panel, Luciana, that has a layer of Lexan on it. That way we can still see out, but the camera is protected. It is right here. And then we have another panel that has a quartz plate over it. That is the panel that covers the tomato seeds, which we will get to later. That way UV can still pass through so we can gather data on how that affects the seeds.
I'm Aliciana Villanueva, and I designed the top lid of the payload. We did it based on Pokemon character named Lunala, and its design process, it was cool, like sketching and like painting it. It's overall a cool experience.
All right, I'm Ethan Morgan. I'm the team's programming lead. So like Melody mentioned before, we didn't really have much to work with, so I had to pick up a bit of the scraps on programming. But I think I'm pretty smart, got a simple little design. So we actually have to get data, correct? We have to record that, right? So we use a small computer called an Arduino. You might have heard of it. That is hooked up to our sensors, our BMP 390, which picks up altitude, pressure, and temperature, and then a UV sensor and an SD card. The code will check all of those if they're on. If they're not, it'll stop. And then once it's done that, it'll read all of the data it's collecting through those sensors. They use some very advanced electrical stuff to pick that up. And then in a loop, every 1 second, it'll write that data to a line on a document that the SD card created itself. And then we have our data.
Unfortunately, our electrical team lead was unable to be here tonight, so I'll be presenting her slides. To power our payload, we're using 2 9-volt batteries wired in parallel, as well as a switch and current to power it on and off, and a voltmeter to display how much power is being provided. This is all wired up to the Arduino Uno, which we are using to run a UV sensor in BMP390. The BMP390 records temperature, pressure, and altitude. The data collected by the sensors is then transferred over to the SD card reader, which is also wired onto the Arduino. On its own, we have a 4K camera to collect video. Originally, we had planned to include a Geiger counter, but apologies. Originally, we had planned to include a Geiger counter to record radiation to go along with our tomato seed experiment, but later had to remove it due to our payload having a strict weight limit of 3 pounds. Our bioscience experiment is tomato seeds, as we've mentioned throughout this presentation. The tomato seed experiment is for us to study whether or not plant life will be able to be grown on Mars. We'll be planting, harvesting, and flying seeds from the tomatoes that were sent up previously, continuing this for 5 generations, keeping control groups of seeds from each generation and DNA testing each batch to find differences and or patterns in the DNA. The goal with this experiment is to study whether there are any mutations in the DNA of the tomatoes after being exposed to direct UV radiation, lack of oxygen, and extreme temperatures. With the data we collect, with the data we gather from the sensors, we will use to understand the differences in the seeds flown with the payload. Over the generations, we will use the data to see specific causes of genetic differences between possible mutations. As shown here is a picture that we got last semester with our payload of the curvature of the Earth. Aliciana has it right here. We recorded it with our fall payload camera right on this side. Another NASA-funded project that Emily Geen and I were a part of is the Nationwide Eclipse Ballooning Project. The specific part that we did was a pterodactyl printed circuit board for ASU's payload. Pterodactyl is an acronym that stands for Payload to Enable Recording of Data and Communication Telemetry while Aloft. This board contains basic sensors useful for stratospheric ballooning, as well as a GPS to tag data with a location as it records it. The basic sensors include pressure, 2 temperature sensors, and a 9 degree of freedom inertial measurement unit, also known as the IMU. The IMU measures 3-axis tip, 3-axis rotation, and 3-axis magnetic field, sort of like a gyroscope would. This allows us to record the payload's position on the X, Y, and Z axes. We would like to say thank you to Michelle Coe, Clayton Jacobs, Stephen Thomas, Shirley Campbell, Brett and Trisha Howard, and our advisor, John Morris. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Got a quick question for you. So it goes up, the balloon goes pop, and then how do you recover it?
The recovery process is, last semester, we had to hike through a mountain to get it. And we didn't even end up making it to the payload. The rest of the colleges did. We were like on a cliff above watching them retrieve it as they walked back with it, and we never made it down exactly where it landed, but we had watched them recover it.
That's outstanding. Awesome job. Thank you very much.
Had it land in military bases before.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a problem.
During spring semester last year, it crashed like face first into the side of a rock, and we lost all of our data except I think camera footage because it smashed straight into a rock. So sometimes it's unrecoverable. Sometimes we actually get what we want.
That's incredible. Good job, guys.
Any more questions?
How long does it take to put together?
I'd say the payload, the design process, at least for me, the spring semester, the CAD was, I'd say maybe a couple of hours just of let's going back and forth of, is this a good weight? Is this a good size? Is this a good like design? And then going into the fabrication, this time it took around the entirety of a fall break. We came in around every other day for spring break. Sorry. A spring break. We came in around every other day to work on the payload, build the payload, get it together so that we could launch.
Have you made any discoveries on your tomato experiment yet?
We attempted to fly them last semester, but all of our seeds died. Unfortunately, we got faulty seeds last semester, so none of them grew.
Don't buy your seeds off Amazon.
So when we fly this weekend, hopefully,
very cool.
we are going to start the process of the tomato seed experiment, and hopefully they grow this time.
Do you guys have like a Facebook channel or anything that you're going to be videoing that people can watch when you launch it?
I am unsure.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I believe we do not at the moment, but that's something that we
We don't have any streams, but I believe if you look up, I think what is it, ASU's team?
could. ASU's team for sure has one. I believe Embry Riddle also has one.
They will live stream theirs.
Okay. And we just look up Ascend or something for that, or
Yeah, I'd look up Embry Riddle Ascend.
ASU Ascend, Emory Riddle Ascend, any of those.
Is that
very
all?
cool.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you.
So when I talked about how do we respond when students achieve mastery, fascinating experiments and letting kids just the opportunity to explore in experiment and assignments like this will really benefit.
Yeah.
And did he say he's a little bit smart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. He said.
I think he's a lot smart. All of them are.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mr. Lavender, your report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm going to keep it brief tonight because I know it's getting late. But I do want to make sure everybody knows, as I mentioned earlier, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. Tomorrow afternoon, I will be recognizing the staff at Casa Grande Union at 3:30. And then on Wednesday at 12:30, we'll be recognizing the staff at Pace. And then at 1:30, we'll be recognizing the staff at Vista. And so again, we thank all the hard work of our educators. I also want to congratulate our Casa Grande Indoor Percussion Ensemble. They won the Open Division this year and they got state runner-up. So congratulations to them. Again, we recognized our Vista softball and baseball teams for running the table this year in league play and qualifying for state. Also, the Union softball team qualified for state. And both schools had a good showing in our state track meets this weekend. And one of our board members' daughter was on the third place relay team for 5A and set a school record. And we're excited about this team because it's 2 juniors and 2 freshmen. So also right now is Mr. Griffith's in the audience. Our track and skeet team is #1 in the state and #3 in the nation. And Alexis Furman, the one that came in and taught me how to shoot this year when she beat me 24-6, is ranked #1. Dave, is she #1 in the nation or the state? He doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Is Alexis #1 in the state or the nation, sir?
She's #1 in our state. She's the top of the nation. And the young lady beyond it was just the second.
Right. So we're excited about their success as well. Graduation for Casa Grande Union will be Tuesday, May 21st at 8 o'clock. We'll be providing board members some important information for access, getting in and out of graduation. Then Vista will be May 23rd. We will be communicating with our community on some important changes this year in some areas that we need to keep clear to ensure if there's any medical or any other kind of emergencies. There are areas for medical personnel to get in. Last day of school will be Thursday, May 23rd. Summer school will be, first session will be June 3rd to the 14th, and the second session will be June 17th to the 21st. Louis spoke a little bit about Robert Palacio. They are doing a candlelight vigil this Thursday at 7:30 at Vista. If you would like to join and support the family there. That's all I have, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll now move to the call to the public. Sarrington, would you read?
Request to speak to the governing board pursuant to ARS 38-431.02.h. The board may make an open call to the public during a public meeting, subject to reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions to allow individuals to address the public body on any issues within the jurisdiction of the public body. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual board members may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the board, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future board agenda. However, the members of the board shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. During an open call, the board requests that speakers refrain from voicing complaints against school personnel or any person connected with the district, as it may impact due process rights. Policies KE, KEB, and KED are provided by the board for disposition of legitimate complaints, including those involving individuals.
Thank you. I received one request to address the board. Mr. Sheeler.
All right, good evening.
And you have 3 minutes.
I won't use all of it, unlike my classroom when I talk. All right, tonight you're going to be looking at the social studies textbooks. I just want to say I have support of quite a few of my social studies teachers here tonight with me. Those that could not attend also, though, fully support the textbooks that are on the agenda. We looked through our options very thoroughly, and we felt the one that is on the agenda tonight is what is best for our students and for the staff to utilize our time wisely and to be able to provide the best information to our students with there. So it's fully supported by a wide variety of viewpoints that our social studies teachers have, but they fully support this. So I just want you all to know that. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move into matters reserved for board action. Mr. Lavender.
So item number 6A tonight is the IBM recommendations of taking the recommendations for our IBM team, meeting with the district administration as well as school administration. The recommendations are: number one is the labor management committee. This is an ongoing committee that would be meeting throughout the year to address school climate and workforce type issues. This is not the association meeting. This is a diverse group of individuals that will be meeting with myself, the admin team, so we can address workplace issues that need to be addressed immediately and not wait for the IBM, when most of the time IBM is taken up with personnel salaries and that type of stuff. So this is an idea to continue and have dialogue going on a consistent basis. We're recommending an increase of the stipend from $2,000 to $3,000 for the national board certification. We're recommending the implementation of a $2,500 retirement step for all employees who retire from our district with 20 years of service. We're recommending a 3% across the board pay raise for all returning staff, which will increase the 301 contribution for teachers who receive it from $13,989 to $14,409. For those staff that are returning, if our projected budget carryover is greater than 5 million, we're recommending a 1% retention bonus. If it would be going under 5 million to do it, then we're recommending a 0.5%. I've given you some hypothetical examples. We're also recommending that you adopt the new stepless certified salary schedule I covered during the study session tonight, an updated at-will salary schedule. I will tell you that last year, coming into this year, this was a salary schedule that they wanted to go back to the original. After we showed them how the system works, they're in full support of it now. We're also recommending a market study will be done for at-will positions in the fall of 2024. So we know that our at-will positions, and these are our support staff, secretarial type work, custodial type work, and all the things that help the school go and making sure we're at market value, and we're paying people at market value. And then we also have updated exempt, special services, nurse, CNN, and administrative salary schedules that are provided there. I know this says they're still being worked at this time, but they're all updated in your packet. It's my recommendation tonight that you approve all of the recommendations of the IBM committee, and I thank all of them for their work this year. I know Nathan is here. I know Tracy Stewart is here. Tina Daniels is here. Tina Ogle is here. Dave Griffith is here. Vance, Nancy, Chris, Dr. Weinberry, Dylan is here as well. I think that's all our committee members that are here tonight. So, and it was a real pleasure working with the group this year and working and coming up with this solution. And we reached consensus on every one of these items.
Thank you. Any discussions, any questions? Right then, I just want to say this is another step in the right direction. Thank you all for the hard work of putting this together. I think it's going to be, based on what I've read and the overwhelming support that you've received. I think this, again, just another step forward for the whole district. And so thank you for all your hard work. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024-25 IBN recommendations as presented.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, we call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you again. Budget revision, Mr. Lavender.
Yes, sir. So normal process is to approve the budget during the summer for the upcoming fiscal year. And then when we hit the 100-day mark, which usually comes at the end of January, adjustments to the budgets have to be made because we're not master predictors of how many, what budget we're going to get. So Mrs. Beecham, is there anything else you would like to cover on the revision? It's just taking what is our actual 100-day count in that.
Yeah. So it's just, so there's 3 budgets we go through the board with: our projected budget, then our adopted budget. And now this is the revision after we closed out everything for fiscal year 23. As Mr. Lavender stated earlier, our carryover was projected at like 7 million, and we increased it at about 8.5 million, just because of everything we closed out at the end of August for fiscal year 23. So that's how our carryover increased, both in M&O and capital. So those were the changes we made, along with the ADM at 100th day count, because we projected 4,000 students, and I believe our ADM on 100th day was 3911. So we weren't off. Yeah, we 88 students. So.
Any questions from the board? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the fiscal year 2024 revised budget as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, we call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Again, thank you very much for all the work. Mr. Lavender, curriculum.
Well, as you can see, I'm not Miss Morales. She's not able to attend tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and give the presentation for her. Tonight, we're bringing 3 textbook adoptions, or 2 textbook adoptions and 1 curriculum for your approval. We established committees during January and went through the process here. The subjects that were reviewed were Spanish and health. Health is looking at healthy life choices. The Starbright Foundation met with us after, I know they spoke to your group, Boots, I think it was sometime in February, they met with us, presented a 2-week healthy choices. And so we went through the review there and then the social studies as well. For the Spanish, you will see there that we had, I believe it's 8 committee members. They met on 5 different things. 5 different dates. They considered 3 finalists for curriculum, Savas, Vista Learning, and McGraw-Hill. As you'll see, the committee was a combination of parents, community members, as well as teachers. The recommendation for Spanish is the Vista Learning for 3 years. The cost is $145,000. It was a unanimous vote of the committee members. The things they liked about it is the length of units and chapters, the differentiation, the relevant videos, speaking exercises with artificial intelligence, access to all materials, curriculum map aligns with the resources, user-friendly interactive activities, compatible with Schoology, which is a new program that we're bringing in next year for tracking of students. Schoology is replacing Blackboard, am I correct? The Blackboard system, and then align with the AP test. So that's the Spanish. The health, again, we had 5 committee members who volunteered there, 2 parents, 1 teacher, 2 community members. They met on 2. They looked at the North Star and choosing the best curriculums. And after looking at that and realizing, our students could really understand and use some assistance on making healthy choices, they unanimously recommended this curriculum. This is an opt-in, not opt-out curriculum that I believe we'll be using for our sophomore. If my memory serves me correctly. It's a 2-week. They'll either be doing in PE or our health classes. And then the next is our social studies committee. We have 9 members in the social studies committee, 3 parents, 3 teachers, 3 community members. We did have 1 community member resign on January 25th, so they were replaced with another community member. I will tell you that of the 9 community members, 3 were not active participants and didn't attend a lot of meetings, although they were contacted. And I think one of the things moving forward in future years selection process is probably some procedures in there that if committee members are not attending the meetings, they're removed from the committee, and then we bring somebody else onto the committee. Given the fact that 24 people wanted to serve on this committee, they were randomly selected to make sure, and again, they were randomly selected, but we also looked at making sure we had a diverse group, which is something all of you or the board emphasized to us in August. The committee met on 6 different occasions, 5 of the occasions, except for this February 21st, there was a quorum of at least 5 committee members present. On February 21st, there was only 4 of the 9 present, but I will tell you at that time, they did not take any official action then. They came up with questions for the vendors, Heaton Mifflin and McGraw-Hill, who presented on March 6th and March 27th. In social studies recommendation, all of this was done through OpenGov. That's where publishers were able to submit their bids, and they voted on that. McGraw-Hill won by the committee members. There were 6 committee members who voted, and all 6 of them voted for McGraw-Hill. The things that they liked about it, Mr. Sheila talked a little bit about it a few minutes ago. It was interactive, updated, diverse perspectives. There's differentiation opportunities available, intuitive assessments, interactive text. Scaffolding provides data so teachers can reteach content. There's professional development provided. Teachers found it most useful to meet their students' needs. And there are also a set of textbooks that are available for us to use as well. And so the recommendations, again, is the Vista Learning for a 3-year contract at a cost of $145,000. Choosing the Best by North Star, which they would be providing us for free. They would also provide us the instructors to come down and work with our staff and teach it with our staff observing. And the McGraw-Hill, a 3-year contract for social studies. This is for all social studies content areas, world history, U.S. government, economics, as well as U.S. history. The cost for that is $297,000. I can answer any questions that you have.
Mr. Hawks, do you have any questions?
I came a number of times and looked at the books myself. I really liked the economics. That was very well done. The history portion was a little bit confusing in certain portions of it, especially when we start getting around the Constitution. I just wish that the book would show more of what took place during the writing of the Constitution and where we had to go to fight for our liberties afterwards. I think it was a little bit lack in that area.
So again, I would have to, one of the things that's emphasized, and I did a poor job at the beginning, this really should not be curriculum. This is textbook about curriculum is our state standard. So I would really have to look at the state standards of what the Constitution is, and then we would pull information from there and other sources as well. And so this book is not going to be taught from page 1 to page 400, going from page to page. It's going to go back, and a lot of the pages will never get touched because they're not part of our standards. But I appreciate the comments, Mr. Hawks. Thank you.
Mrs. Harrington.
No, I mean, I'm very pleased with the committees that were formed. I thank you guys for doing that and listening to us. I think it really helped us feel more comfortable making an informed decision on that. For Spanish, they didn't have Duolingo available for that. Nobody knows that. Just kidding. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Nope.
Mr. Hayes.
I just want to thank the committee members for all the work and hours put into this. Makes our job a little bit easier. So I thank you for that, the time you spent in doing that.
And then I just want to echo that because I did start to go through the book myself as a history major and undergrad. I found it, I thought it was pretty good. I was only flipping through it through section. So my hat's off to you and really commend all of the committee members for taking the time to really drill down and go through this. And the fact that you had such a diverse group in the committee, and we did that on intentionally to make sure that we had a number of different eyes on there. I know we had some teachers, we had some community members, and then we had some parents. And I know that some of them had dual hats. But I think we all appreciate all the effort that went into this. And I think that, it's a step in the right direction again. And with that, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the adoption of the curriculum for Spanish, social studies, and health as presented.
Second.
And do we need to clarify, since it comes in here as like approve the adoption of a curriculum? It's actually a curriculum for the health, and then just the textbooks for the Spanish and social studies. So would you?
Okay. I move to approve the adoption of the textbooks for, curriculum and curriculum for health, and then the textbooks for Spanish and social studies. Is that correct? Did I say that right? As presented.
I'll second again.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, will you call for the vote?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, it passes. Moving on, intergovernmental agreement, school safety coordinator, Mr. Lavender.
Yes, sir. This is an agreement that was made between us and the elementary school district. As we know, school safety is an issue of great importance. We've invested in weapon protection systems. We continue to work with our principals on school safety plans. Having a school district safety person, we're probably not big enough to employ one full-time, and these are the elementary, but splitting one with the elementary 50-50 would allow both school districts to have a safety person really focusing on our emergency plans, observing what we're doing. And for that, also would be observing not only when we have lockdowns, hold shelters in place and things like that in our operations in the morning, but also just looking at our plans. Again, the elementary district will be sharing this position. They'll be technically an employee of the elementary district, and we'll be paying half the salary to the elementary district, but the individual will be working for both districts, have an office at both districts. And we're really looking for somebody with a background in security and law enforcement and those types of things.
All right. Any questions, comments from the board? Well, I just think that it's a really good idea because we're basically a school system.
Right.
And so having this individual be part of both of them, I think there's some definite benefits there.
Consistent language,
yes.
K through 12 too, when there are emergency situations.
All right, entertain a motion.
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Casa Grande Union High School District and Casa Grande Elementary School District for the position of school safety coordinator as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, we call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Donations, Mr. Lavender.
Yes, sir. We continue to receive very generous donations from the community. And this month, we're asking you to approve a $200 donation from Fitzgibbon Law Office to the PLC of the Casa Grande Union Junior class. A wheelchair valued at $540 from Donna Tejas to the Casa Grande Nurse's Office. A $250 check from the Casa Grande Rotary Foundation to the Vista Grande Key Club. And a $500 donation from Southwest Site Works LLC to the Casa Grande Union Construction Group.
Wonderful.
Ask that you approve these donations with enthusiasm.
Absolutely. Any comments? Any questions? Again, just thank you for the generosity of this community. It's always warm.
Yep, that's awesome.
I'll entertain a motion.
I will make a motion or
I second it.
Motion and a second. Mary, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. Moving to our consent agenda. This time, under the consent agenda, these items can be taken all in one motion. Is there any discussion or questions by any of the board members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mary, call for the vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. And with that, that concludes this meeting. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.